Hello students and welcome back. This is Swati teacher and today I will cover with you SST chapter number 18, the story of the early man part 1. Students, this chapter is divided into two parts. Next chapter is part 2, that is chapter number 19. So let us discuss about part 1 first. So whenever we talk about the history, all of us are well aware of this fact that there was a term called early man. But who was this early man? And when did the man came on earth? Where did he live and what he did? And how he ate food, how he discovered fire and so on. So many questions come in our mind when we think about an early man. So there is no written record of the events of that period, students. Our knowledge of that period is based on the evidence collected by archaeologists. Now, who are archaeologists? These are scholars who study human history and prehistory through the excavation, digging of sites. So these archaeologists dig the site, and if they find anything related to the history, they do a research on it. They do a complete study of that material, and then they come to a conclusion that this material is so many years old and this was used by early man or whatever. So all that information is related to the archaeology. It is a very interesting thing, and the archaeologists are the scholars who do the study of human history. So the early man appeared on earth long time ago, and as per archaeology and the archaeological evidence, the early man appeared on earth 40,000 years ago. So you can imagine, students, it's been 40,000 years since the hominid or the early man appeared on earth. What is hominid? Hominid is another name used to call an early man. Early man's another name is hominid. So the earliest hominid remains have been found in Africa. So in African continent, the earliest hominid remains have been found. That means the earliest hominids have come on Africa. In the land of Africa they were found. Then when they came about 40,000 years ago, the early man did not knew how to make houses or how to grow any crops. So they were not aware of the farming or how to do a construction of house. They were also afraid of natural things such as thunder and lightning, because it was all new for them. They had not seen it before. That's why they were afraid of the sound of thunder and the sight of lightning. So they used to live in groups. That's why, because being in group they feel secured. They used to feel secured. That's why they used to live in groups. So whatever knowledge is available about the early man, the source of all that knowledge is these three things: discovery of stone tools, remains of shelters, and cave paintings. So the entire knowledge, our knowledge about the early man, is dependent on these three sources. This is the picture of stone tools, students. So what are stone tools? Stone tools were used by early man for a lot of purposes, like hunting of animals, fishing, digging of mud, and sewing. But how the stone tools were made? They were made from sharp stones, wood, and bones. The early man used sharp stones to hunt animals. That's why this period is therefore called as Stone Age, because all the tools were made up of stone, sharp stones. Why? Because the early humans had no knowledge about metals. Metals were discovered quite late. That's why the stone tools were used for all the purposes of early man. This is a cave painting. Cave paintings were made by early humans, and these paintings are very old. These are mainly about animals and hunting scenes. That's why these cave paintings are really helpful to us, as we can come to know about the life of the early humans through these cave paintings. Early man made a lot of these cave paintings, and they have depicted the early man's life, like how they used to do hunting, what all animals were present there, all has been depicted by cave paintings. Students, have you ever wondered how the early man used to live? Because at that time the early man did not knew how to construct a house. So that's why the early man lived in caves, and this protected him from heat, cold, rain and wild animals. Also, early man used to move in groups from one place to another in search of food, because being in group made him secure and safe. And the early man's food habits were just like animals. He used to do hunting of animals, and that's why he was called a hunter or food gatherer. They used to work in groups, which made their work easier and faster and also provided them safety. Now let us discuss about the clothes. How they used to wear clothes. The early humans did not had any clothes to wear, because at that time the discovery of clothes was not done. They did not know how to make clothes. That's why they used to wear leaves and animal skin to cover their bodies. Leaves were available from the nearby trees and plants, and also the animal skin was they were able to get the animal skin from hunting. So they used to cover their body from animal skin and leaves, which protected them from rain, cold and heat. How they used to communicate. The early man did not know any language to communicate, because at that time no language skills were developed. That's why he used gestures or hand movements to communicate with one another. So they used to do gestures or hand movements to communicate, because there was no spoken language at that time. Then later he began imitating the sounds made by animals to call one another. So they used to hear the sounds of the animals. They started imitating them, using the same sounds to communicate. Earlier they used to do gestures, but then they started imitating animals. So what were early humans afraid of? The early humans did not had the knowledge of thunder, clouds, lightning in the sky and also raining. So that's why they were totally unaware of these things, and whenever there was a thundering sound or a lightning, they used to get scared of it. And the change in their life was a very slow process. Slowly and gradually they understood these things, that all these things happen. There is a change in the weather, there is a thunder and lightning whenever rain comes. So this was a very slow learning process for early man. It took them thousands and thousands of years to understand and learn new things. So slowly and gradually the early man was able to learn about fire. The discovery of fire was made. The discovery of wheel was made. He learned how to do cropping, agriculture and how to construct houses. All this was a very slow process. It took thousands and thousands of years. All about this we will be discussing later on in the next part of this chapter, the story of the early man part 2. There would be a thorough and detailed explanation of discovery of fire, wheel, agriculture and housing. So till then you have to just study about this chapter, and also I will be sharing a PDF for the question answers of this part, and in case you have any doubts you can let me know. Thank you.